you're at Bible college.
Yeah.
The den of iniquity. And mine was. What was that like, navigating through that, going to school, while at the same time you're coming of age, like seeing and being around more people, and you're being exposed to some more cultures that you weren't outside your own home, still in a small little box, but still exposed to some culture.
I really thought going to Bible college was going to be the big fix. Because I'm like, I'm going to be in this utopian environment of all of these young people like me who just want to serve God, and we're all there, out of the purity of our hearts, so to speak, And so then I got there, and there's all these cute guys in suits, and and gang showers in the dorm, and like
I think by my year they put up stalls.
I was always like, you all do not understand homosexuality, do you? Because you would not have put this big shower room where you would not have. You remembered to separate.
I'm blushing because it's true.
You remembered to separate the boys from the girls, but you forgot about separating the boys from the boys.
Right.
But, and so then it was really even more of a struggle because I had a little bit more freedom. But so then I was like, I got to find a girl to date because I'd never dated.
Yeah.
And so.
You never dated till you got to Bible college?
No.
Girls in youth group, nothing?
No, I didn't have a youth group.
Oh,
I lived a very isolated youth.
Okay.
I was homeschooled and everything.
Okay.
So I was immediately paired up with this gal who I ended up marrying, and she was the only girl I ever dated. But it was like she fit the list because I'd been told, and I have this whole list in my book. So if you want to see the list, it's there. Which
I am going to read.
And it was, it was like, is she there? And it was a very superficial list, but that's, women existed to complement the men, truthfully, girls went to Bible college to get their MRS degree. It was always the joke.
To get
married. And then they could support their husband in his ministry, So then the
guys.
guys.
A good submissive wife.
Yeah. And so, I had this list of what would make a good wife for me, make me look good, including being tall. I wanted somebody tall. I sang, I wanted a soprano. Like, this was on my list, that kind of stupid stuff.
It's funny because it's so crazy and ridiculously true.
I wanted to be able, we would need to sing together, right? We've got to be able to sing together, kind of thing. Right. And so I just, again, kept following that path. So we dated, we got engaged, we got married.
No.
All the time. I'm still struggling, thinking maybe after that, because I'd never had sex with a woman. So after we got married, I thought, well, then that will do it. I will have the right outlet for all these passions, so it was really disappointing when it didn't work.
Yeah.
But then I'm stuck, so to speak. And I just was like, well, I knew enough. I wanted to be a good husband, and I still wanted to be a good godly man. So I just committed to like, okay, I make this, I'm going to do all the right things.
Right.
But the desires never went away.
Yeah.
And this is so before the internet.
Yeah.
So in the 90s. And so eventually I became a cruiser. For people that don't know what that is I found quick anonymous sexual encounters in public places like parks, restrooms, malls, things like that. And that was my fix. And that was a very, very common way. It was just prior to Grindr.
Yeah.
It was like that. People think, they're like, oh, how could you do that? I was like, well, we didn't have any other way.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go into
We just didn't have the app as a middleman. We just went directly.
And I didn't want to be seen in a gay bar or an adult bookstore or something like that. So you just found these little ways to get your fix, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which then fed even more into the shame and the guilt.
But it was a desire for that human connection even at that point to be like,
actually, my friend, I think it was Nicole Price who said this to me, I believe. I'm not sure, but she was like, well, you were looking for intimacy. And I was like, oh, no. I just wanted to get off. And then I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, you're absolutely right. I didn't even know what intimacy was.
Yeah.
And that was as close as I could get to it because that was a part of me that I didn't let anybody see.
Yeah.
Except the stranger, which is odd. But in that moment, there was an odd sense of intimacy.
There is some intimacy.
And, you know, the feel of a man against me, flesh against flesh. Like, that was something, you know, that was very taboo, but it was also something I longed for.
It felt right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, and we'll get back to... So I was explaining how when I first held a man's hand, and it was an after party after a club, and I remember, and it was like a rush went through my body, and I go, and it just swept through me, and I go, oh, and I remember letting out this, oh, and he was just holding my hand, and he was just like, "You okay?" I go, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember with that, and I want people to listen. Like, when you've never felt that before, it feels good.
Yeah, I have those memories. I don't know if they're the first time, but I have similar memories of just like when I went, oh,
yeah,
this is good.
Yeah.
Like this, I've never felt anything like this. And it wasn't even sexual. It wasn't like, oh, I'm turned on. It was just like you say, that kind of electricity of like, wow.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's what love, intimacy, that's what this is. Attraction. Yeah.
I had a hookup once with a guy that I met. This is when gay.com came along, and I was fine. And some guy, we connected on gay.com, and he was like, hey, I'm going to go antiquing at this store. Or do you want to meet up and go with me? Which was really weird for me because I'd only been...
Typical gay pickup line, by the way.
I'm like, I didn't know how to like do anything except have sex, so to speak. And so I thought, well, okay.
Yeah.
So I met him at this antique store, like an antique mall kind of thing. And that was truly all he wanted, was some companionship.
Yeah.
And we walked around that antique mall, and I'm like the whole time thinking, like, this is just a cover for something else, right?
Yeah.
You know, kind of in my mind. And it wasn't. And the more I was like, I started letting go and just being like, so we're at an antique mall. We're just looking at antiques. And that intimacy came in of like, we're just sharing, we're just being companions.
Yeah.
And it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden I went, this is what it would be like to be with somebody. Like, I'd never thought of being with a man outside of just having sex.
Right.
And I mean, he probably didn't even remember the thing, but if he did, he'd probably be like, that was really weird. I'm like, yeah, you had no idea what was going on in my head. I was scared to death. I was like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling a connection. Like, I'm feeling things I'd never felt before. That, you mean I could actually have a relationship with a man?
I'm feeling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big one. Just feeling it all. Yeah.